I know you do. Hey, look. You have refill too. You are the best.
Thank you, Pup, for letting me know.
It's my pleasure.
Oh, you are Alan this morning.
Oh, okay. I'm logged in through.
Oh, that's true. That's why I'm like, where's Bob? I cannot see you. I see Alan.
Yeah, because I'm using my friend's laptop because he has the app.
I see. I see.
Ah,
Gotcha.
so that's your dual identity, like the others that we do not know about.
We have 14 attendance now. Very good. Very good. So I would like to start at I think like 1 hour and 15 minutes is not going to be enough for Ajahn Pap talking about Thai music in generally. So we are music of Southeast Asia. We have learned so far. We get into the Thailand right now. We've been through the island music, and the second half we have the crisis about COVID-19, and we try to get it through. Everyone confront the same situation. So I came up with my fellow Ajahn Pap to talk about the Thai music, how to appreciate. And I don't know the title is fit for you, but you're gonna talk more and beyond, right? Above and beyond.
I will make it fit. Do not worry.
Okay, so let Ajahn Pap or Nattapol Wisuttipat, correct?
Wisuttipat.
Wisuttipat. Gosh, I missed your pronounce like for a long time. Wisuttipat. Right now, he's the PhD student at the University of California at Riverside. And welcome in. Yes.
Okay, should I take it from here?
Yes,
Ajahn? Okay. Hi everyone. First of all, thank you so much Ajahn Chamnit for having me here to guest lecture in this lovely class. And thank you, Dr. Deborah Wong, and thank you, Dr. Wang, for making your time. And then I think we have Yuko, right, coming in with us today. So thank you all for taking your time here. And yeah, hi to all the students in this class as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen real quick here. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Can you all see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, so in the meantime, while I'm speaking, if there is any question that comes up, so feel free to drop them in the chat box. All right, so make sure you have chat box handy, close to your screen, and then we will go from there. Okay. So a little bit about myself. Okay, my name is, like Ajahn Chamnit has introduced, my name is Nattapol Wisuttipat. Okay, or as Thai names tend to be long and hard to pronounce sometimes. So please feel free to call me Pup, P-U-P. Okay, I am a PhD student in ethnomusicology right now at, University of California, Riverside. My research interest covers Thai classical music in general. Usually I'm now interested in how it the social meaning of Thai classical music as it plays out in different parts of Thailand and different kinds of musicians. And I'm also interested in the Thai expressive cultures performance by Thai Americans. So basically speaking Thai diaspora in the United States. So those are a little bit about me. Okay, but for today, I'll be talking about how to listen to Thai classical music, right? But you know, coronavirus edition, because we are all here in this format because of the pandemic and in this difficult time. So yeah, I will try. This is the first time that I'm giving the lecture on Thai music in this format. So it's new for me, and yeah, I'll try my best to make this as accessible to all of you as possible. Okay, so with that said, please feel free to, if you have any questions, just type them in the chat box. Okay, so what I would like to start, you know, since I mentioned the coronavirus edition, right? So I think this is a good time, a good moment, right, to reflect on, as an ethnomusicologist, right, to reflect on how people respond to coronavirus, like different ways people use music to respond to coronavirus, right? You know, sometimes music can give you a spiritual alleviation, can give you some peace of mind in this difficult time. And yes, Thai people, like many other people, like many other parts in the world, they have turned to music in this difficult time, right? And it is how the way they use music to combat this pandemic is very interesting. So I have with you one example, okay?
Om Namo Namo มาสวดนะโมไล่โควิดกันอ้อมจงหายละพันมาสวดให้มันวอนสิ่งศักดิ์สิทธิ์ไวรัสที่กำลังพ่นพิษไม่นานแล้วมันคงหมดฤทธิ์สวดส่งโควิดร่วมกันดังๆพี่ได้โควิดทำเศรษฐกิจพังโอมนะโมนะโมมาสวดนะโมไล่โควิดร้ายอ้อมมาลายจึงหยุดกระจายแพร่เชื้อประดังทาตะกะสะมังวิสตุนะจังงังมาสวดจับจังโควิด-19ร่วมสวดจับจังโควิด-19โอมนะโมนะโมโอมนะโมนะโมโอมนะโมนะโมนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะปาติโตอะปาติโตอะปาติโตโตโตโตโตไปให้พ้นละนี้ไปให้พ้นไปให้พ้นละนี้ไปให้พ้นวิสัชได้นำมาโควิดเข้าสิงสถิตร่างกายผู้คนหน้ากากอนามัยป้องกันคงต้องลงยันถึงมันใจได้พ้นตัวขจัดมันไปให้พ้น
Yeah, so I would like to hear from you. What did you hear? What did you see in this video? Feel free to type them in the chat box, or feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, we have one quick response from Dr. Wong. Okay, the rhythm was very interesting. Could anybody make something out of what the person in the video is speaking? Okay. Yeah. Some of you heard the word COVID-19, right? Yeah. It is, of course, about COVID-19. But what's special about this is that the singer in this video is incorporating some sacred text in Buddhist chant, right? You hear the word Om, Namo, Namo, words like that. So it is incorporated. And you know, what's even more special or interesting is that it is made into music. It is sung over music, right? So you see how music plays a part. So what is in all this, when these things come together, you know, so many issues we can be discussed in this example, right? So we now begin to think, okay, is this, you know, by bringing in religious text, right? Bringing in religious aspect and putting music on top of it, right? So it what does it mean when it is used to combat COVID-19, right? So in this sense, people turn to spiritual things or spiritual elements in our lives, right? But then also music helps heighten it or making it more accessible and also giving it a sense of comedy, right? To ease out the tension. So that is how and why music comes to be very important in every aspect of our lives, even in this difficult time. And if this is not enough, there are people who make that prayer slash singing into a remix, and it gets even more interesting. So let's take a listen at this. So yeah, so now we get into a different layer of how music is used, right? Now everything is taken from its original recording, right? Now it's remixed, giving it like full on the disco kind of vibe. And now the religious, right? The first the original intent of using religious text as a means, right, to combat this pandemic is now gets superimposed by entirely secular for entertainment purpose. And so this is how different layers comes into intersect with one another. And in this kind of time, right, in this kind of situation, we can also find interesting ways in which music comes to play a part in our lives. So that's how I would like to start with this class. You know, if you think about the way music is used by human, not in the sense of performance itself, but also in many other ways, right? So that's how I would like to start. That's the kind of mindset we as ethnomusicologists see and think about music. Okay, so with that said, you know, that's a good segue to turn into Thai classical music, right? So Thai classical music is going to be a little bit different from what we have seen in that videos, right? So it is. So I would like to start with, you know, clarifying what is exactly or actually Thai classical music, right? So the word classical, right? When we think about classical, what comes to your mind?
Formal.
I mean, there are hints on the screen. Yeah, please feel free to drop something in the chat. Well, we have Mozart. Okay. Classical.
There we go.
Okay, Liszt. Okay. Novel people. Yeah. So classical music, of course, when we speak about classical music, right, we speak of music that is meant to be heard by a certain class of people, usually higher class people, right? And then has explicit theories and what is it called? It has formal training and institutionalized way of learning, right? So in that context, Thai classical music has that similarity of how we think about Western classical music, right? In that it is meant for a certain class of people. Yes, to some extent, right? It was once meant for court or the palace or the royal in Thailand back in the old days. But now the Thai classical music has expanded beyond the court settings and is now played by layman people just like us, right? It is available to everyone. So some people say called Thai music. This kind of music I'm going to talk about as court music, which is correct, but I tend to avoid this term because it kind of limits the idea of the music that is which is to the court itself, which is not necessarily true, right? But in other aspect, right, it has formal training. You have to undergo certain kind of steps in the training to become Thai classical musicians, and it also has explicit theories, but some of which is not verbalized, right? Some of them are transmitted. Transmitted orally. Sometimes they are verbalized, and sometimes they are written down. But many of the times, many of the occasions, and if you're in Thai ensemble with Ajahn Chamni, you might notice as well that things are passed on verbally with lesser on writing things down, right? And then we get to Thai, right? The word Thai. What is Thailand? What is Thai people? Well, Thai classical music, in this sense, I'm gonna bracket it to the music, right? The classical music, which falls into that, which has that quality, but that is practiced in central Thailand. By central Thailand, I mean central Thailand is the cultural center, right? And that center of the tradition is expanded, is distributed out of into the regional parts of Thailand. But that is not to say that this is the exclusive tradition around this region, right? In Southeast Asia, this kind of music is considered a shared culture, right? It is available in Cambodia, known as Pin Piat. It is available in Laos, called Don Ti Lao Derm, and so just to put it out there that this is not an exclusive tradition, it is a shared tradition. But what I'm going to speak at today is from Thai perspective, okay? And also this music, it is supported by the nation, by the state, by the government, by the authority. So in a sense, it is a national music, right? So with that said, there are also many kinds of music in other parts of Thailand, right? That is considered Thai music, but is not in the same level in terms of significance as Thai classical music as a national representation of musical culture of Thailand. Just to contextualize you with this kind of ideas of Thai classical music. Okay, any question so far? So far so good? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, so let's take a quick listen example, right? So with this, let me hop out of my screen just a little bit. Now, let me switch my screen share to a different one. Okay. Give me a second, okay? Google Chrome. Okay. I hope you all are looking at my Google Chrome screen right now. Okay, now I would like you to listen to this, okay? First, for the first time, the first round of listening, listen to what's going on in terms of melody, in terms of sound, right? In terms of sound, what's happening? Listen to this while it's playing, okay? And take notes, or you can just drop in the chat box. Yeah, let's type it in the chat box. I would like to see, I would like to know how are you hearing Thai classical music, okay? Through this example. take about a couple of minutes, okay, to reflect on this, the things that you just heard. Okay, ask yourself what you hear. How does it sound like? How is it put together? Describe it in your own language. Okay, no judgment. Okay, no judgment. No judgment. I would like to know your first impression on the music. Yeah, Glynis, right? Glynis said layers. Yeah, good, good, good. But could you elaborate it on a little bit more? What do you mean by layers? You know, because it could mean so many things putting on top of each others, or is it more like interlacing, more interwoven kind of layers? Wow, okay, okay, I see some mention of instruments. Cool, very good, very good. Sticks out in the mix. Okay, we see Ranat Tum, okay, coming up. Wow, okay, the tempo is free flowing. Okay. Ching, okay, we hear some, gets faster, more chaotic. Okay, I like that impression, more chaotic. Okay, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that, chaotic. That's a very interesting adjective to use. Okay, more instruments are added, but still control. Okay, we see some contradiction there, right? Chaotic, but controlled, right? Controlled chaos. That's very interesting. Okay, and you get faster. Yeah, some Ethan, right? Ethan said it is the rhythm is free flowing. Okay, is it free flowing? Is it? Can you tap along the music? Well, let's listen to this one more time. Now, try to tap along the music if you can. That sense of established rhythm, right? A steady pulse that is happening throughout the music, right? Okay, we hear, I see some comments, right, from Su Sen, right? I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, okay? The flute sounds like counterpoint on top. Yes, the flute is more kind of free flowing in the music, in the example, right? But now let's take a little deeper dive into the elements of music here. What instruments do you hear, right? So in terms of timbre, right? So I'm throwing one technical terms here. Okay, timbre means the sound, the character of the sound. So in other words, it's a fingerprint of an instrument or a voice, right? So we hear, of course, one instrument that sticks out is a ranat ek or xylophone, right? It is the instruments that has that, you know, consecutive, that stream of 16th note that is being played throughout the music, throughout that example. Okay, so if you are confused or if you're not sure which is which instruments that I'm referring to, like I said, drop them in the chat box. Okay, and then yes, we come to Ranat Tum, right? The lower pitch xylophone, and that plays a syncopated rhythm. So those are two xylophones we have there. And then we have the gongs, right? Kong Wong Yai. In this example, though, it's a little bit faint in the background, but this is the backbone. It is the fundamental part of Thai classical music, right? So if you listen to that closely enough, you hear there's some resonating overtone coming from the gongs, right? And it plays a relatively low rhythmic density. It's not as compared to the Ranat ek, right? So that's the gong, the Kong Wong Yai that we have there. And then we have the flute, right? The flute that kind of a more free-flowing melody, kind of like, you know, you guys, the rest play whatever you want. I'm just gonna play my own stuff. But that is half true, right? It's actually structured in its own way. We're going to talk about that later. Okay, and then rhythm-wise, right? We hear that small cymbal that's happening. Ching, chap, ching, chap. That one, that's the ching, right? That gives the steady pulsation. right? And then we have the two drums that that are playing with one another, right? Kind of playing with the rhythm, not really keeping the time as in the sense of Western classical music, right? As drum, you gotta keep the time, you gotta maintain the tempo, right? But in here, the drum kind of plays with the rhythm, so to speak. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so with that said, let's take a listen one more time before we move on. Now think about the instruments that I just mentioned, right? Okay, or I rather pull up this, okay, and then I'll play the music for you. Okay. Now, do you begin to hear what's going on? Can you distinguish one instrument from another? That's what's happening. Okay, I hope you can in this, given the situation. Okay, but now let's take a deeper dive into what's actually happening. How are things related to one another, right? How is this chaos, as who mentioned it? Jordan, how is this chaos controlled? What is it controlled? What is it that's controlling this seemingly chaotic music, right? So yeah, oh, I forgot to mention it, this music has also a form, right? If you can catch melody, each melody is repeated twice, but you know, the same melody is played a little bit differently. But yeah, with that said, let's take a little more deeper look in the music itself, okay, in the way how the music works. So Thai classical music, we have, you know, we call 7 equidistant tuning. All the pitches are tuned in different ways than Western classical music or Western music as we come to be accustomed, right? We call this 7 equidistant tuning system. This is the theoretical conversation, okay, just to let you know out there. In fact, when it comes to practice, when you hold you know, a tuner and put it in front of the instrument, you see that it's not exactly 7 equidistant, right? But that's the theory. That's the theory that we have, right? Because why is it different? Well, my speculation is that we have been tuning our instruments by ears, and we are accustomed to that type of tuning. Okay, so when we consider that tuning to be equidistant tuning, but in fact, when we try to measure it, it is not exactly 7 equidistant, but we still regard that as a 7 equidistant tuning. Okay, and then it is end accented. Okay, what I mean by that, I'll come to that later. Okay, end accented, and it's the structure, the chaos that one of you has mentioned, right? That is very one of the feature of Thai classical music, the way in which each melody is connected or is structured together. So we call this as heterophony, right? I think you must have heard this term before. I think so. In the Garland book, they must have mentioned the term, right? Heterophony. If not, then basically heterophony is one line of melody, right, being played by different instruments, but each instrument add their own flowering, add their own ornamentations to that one single melody. It is very commonly practiced in, say, Chinese music. You know, in Sichu ensemble, we have this kind of, you know, heterophony or heterophonic structure. In Southeast Asia, it is also very common in heterophony. And also think about the congregation, right? In the church, in the service, you hear the lead singer sing something, and then congregation, sometimes they sing along with the same line of the music with the lead singer. Sometimes they add their own flowering of the song, of the service song, right? Think of it in that way. Sometimes people call this, in Thai music though, this kind of layering, David Martin, well, actually, he borrowed this term from Mantelhood because this term is first used, the term stratified polyphony. It is first used to describe gamelan ensemble, right? How the gamelan are structured using this stratified polyphony or polyphonic stratification. And then David Martin, when he studied in Thai classical music back in the 60s and the 70s, he borrowed this term from Mantelhood, right, to describe Thai classical music. But it's not actually stratified polyphony by itself. I would say it is more of a heterophonic. It is, there is a strata, right? But it's not that as clear as explicit strata. I mean, but I see this as more of a, you know, parallel happening, but everything is going their own route, having their own way, not exactly stratified, not exactly a strata. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna, well, before we move on, we have oral transmission and white crew. This is very crucial part, like cultural part, very crucial to Thai classical music, right? Like you said, like you know, in Southeast Asian, many cultures in Southeast Asian, right, and everywhere in the world, right, things are transmitted, handed down orally, with very little things written down. Yes, there are written notations, but these are not used in performance. As you see in the photo here, right, that's one of the performance that which I happen to be a part of, and so is Ajahn Chamni. So we played this in a white crew ritual at UCLA in 2017. Right, so white crew is another one big part of Thai classical music, right? White crew actually means a teacher honoring ritual. So why is it so important? Because, well, as Thai classical music is passed on orally, right? So we have that bond between teacher and student, and Thai musicians value this bond very much, right? They hold on, they regard this bond between teacher and student as their lineage, and you know, we value the lineage of our you know, musical knowledge, and that's part of the identity of the musicians, and this ritual confirms this kind of, you know, lineage, and also this ritual gives you authorizations. I mean, in this ritual, participation in this ritual gives you authorization to learn some of the pieces that you cannot learn in a normal setting, right? So there are lots of things happening in this ritual. Okay, so well, what time do we have here? We have about okay, 8 o'clock. So what we have, I have until 8:45. Is that correct, Ajahn Chamni?
Right now it's 8. Right now it's the 8:04, right?
Yeah, I have until 8:45.
You 8:45, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna zoom through rather quickly, okay, from here. So there are many types of Thai classical ensembles, right? But there are two types that I wanna talk about, just throw it out there for you, okay? So we have one called Pipat, right? Pipat is percussion-based ensemble, as you have heard in the video, right? In that video. And then the other one that we have is Krung Sai ensemble, or the string ensemble, right? But most of the times, theoretical discussion and whatever discourse that surrounds Thai classical music is based on Pipat, right? Pipat seems to have that significance compared to Krung Sai. Krung Sai is kind of a bit more secondary in terms of, you know, the importance in terms of representation in Thai classical music. So because Pipat is used in, you know, ritual, and in theaters, in those kind of contexts, right? Rather than Krung Sai using in secular performance. That's why there is that hierarchy in terms of significance, like I mentioned. And it's also important to think about, you know, Pipat music being physically demanding. Many people think of this as, you know, music for the man. And then Krung Sai, right? It is more elegant, soft, and its timbre sounds more mellow. So many people in Thai musicians tend to regard this ensemble to be for women, but that is not always the case, right? There are always men who plays in Krung Sai ensemble. There are also women who plays in part ensemble there, and there are also, you know, gender non-conforming individuals who make use of these instruments, these ensembles, right? For example, in nowadays, it is very common that Krung Sai ensemble is popular among gay musicians in Thailand, right? And now they begin playing songs that is repertoire that is not usually played in Krung Sai ensemble. So there are lots of meanings, lots of issues or debates that can be looked at in terms of gender and sexuality in Thai classical music as well. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna show you again the quick example, like couple real quick examples of part and Krung Sai ensembles. Okay, so I will be featured in both of the videos. Okay, this one is part ensemble. Nope, sorry. The penetrating timbre of the B, right? The oboe that's there, and then the ranat 8, right? The xylophone has that bright, very crisp timbre that is being played, and then we have ranat tum right over here, and then the gongs at the back, all the rhythmic instruments over there, right? So that's the sound of part ensemble. Right, and now moving on to Krung Sai, right? You see the settings are more different, right? Notice the way people are seated there, right? That bodily posture of the music, that might giving you the clue as to why this music is meant for women, right? Because of that, you know, reserved posture in that one takes up while playing the music. And now listen to the timbre. Kind of you know, soft, very chill kind of vibe that's happening, very mellow, you know, softer than classical music. But this is not to say that all Krung Sai plays slow music. Okay, let's go into towards the end of the music. You see how the music speeds up. Right, so that's you know, Krung Sai also play fast music, right? But I'm talking about timbre, right? It's softer. So those are the examples. Okay. Are we still doing okay so far? How are we doing in the back in Illinois? Okay, still doing okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, now I'm just gonna skip the tuning system. Accented beat. Okay. So I just want to clarify this a little bit, right? So in Thai classical music, when we play or when we hear the music, we hear it in the ways that we approach the strong beat rather than counting from the strong beat, right? So when we start counting in Western classical music, right, we usually do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The accented or the accent falls on the first beat. That's how you depart from the accented beat, right? But in Thai classical music, we approach the accented beat. So conceptualizing the rhythm in Thai classical music will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I have to talk about this because it affects the way the music is structured, right? It is core, is very fundamental to the rhythm, to the arrangement, or to how music comes together, right? Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. No, we count towards the end of the accented beat is towards the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then keep in mind this accented beat at the end. Okay, this is gonna play a huge part in the way music is structured. Okay, and as you see in many ensembles, no conductor, lead instruments usually start a piece, right? So now let's talk about stratified polyphony, right? How the things work together, right? So we have the sonic component, right? The being heterophonic structure, right? We have the main melody. Main melody is gonna play by Khong Wong Yai. He played by Khong Wong Yai. The rest of the instruments will do their variations. That variations is called tang, okay, tang in Thai classical music. For example, right, the Khong Wong Yai is gonna play tang Khong Wong Yai. And then Ranat Ek is gonna play tang Ranat Ek, tang Ranat Tum, right, tang Khong Wong Lek, so on and so forth. And then we have temporal elements, right? N accented beat, right? And then we, as you heard from the example, Ching regulates the tempo, right? And then we have the drums, right? We call Nattap, and the word rhythm, but in Thai is Jangwa, right? So we have Jangwa Ching or Ching rhythm, Jangwa Nattap, which refers to rhythm played by the drums. But sometimes, as I mentioned, the drums does not necessarily keep the time or keep the tempo. Sometimes drums plays with the rhythm itself, right? So it usually comes down to the ching that tells you the tempo. Okay, so what does this all mean, right? How does this all work? Once again, so let's think about, let's take a look at this, the photo that I have here that you're looking right now, right? The rose is red, the violet's blue, sugar is sweet, and so are you. What's special about this? What's special about this stanza? I give you a hint already, stanza. Okay, in case you're still thinking, so take a look at the blue and you, right? What's the relationship? It rhymes, right? Yes, it rhymes. Yeah, so that's exactly how Thai music works. The rhymes. Well, but how does rhymes works in music sense, right? So, well, all this I already talked about, right? No intentional harmony, no harmony involved, even though it's intentional. It's unintentional, right? Structural tone on strong beat, right? Remember the strong beat, right? That's where we look for the rhymes in the strong beat. How does it rhyme? How does the rhyming work, right? The melodic rhyming in Thai classical music, okay, is the same notes, right? For example, you work towards the end on the accented beat, whatever note that falls on that accented beat has to be the same on all the instruments. Whatever tang or whatever style that they are playing at the accented beat, it has to be the same note. Okay, does that make sense so far? You see the things now coming together, the rhyme, think about it as the rhyme, right? Rhyme where at the accented beat, how the same note has to fall on that accented beat, right? And yes, in the tang itself, the way we structure the tang, we call it klon, which means poem in Thai itself, right? So we see the melody in Thai classical music itself is a poem, right? Because it rhymes together, right? And it is always symmetrical, right? It always either in even numbers, 2, 4, 8, right? Not 6 because it's 3 and 3, right? So it's not symmetrical. It has to be even, right? There are also some pieces that has 7 beats, right? Those things, but it's very uncommon, right? So we're going to talk about general characteristic, right? Symmetry. And then, well, we talked about Nattap already, right? The drums that regulates the tempo. Now, let's take a look at this. Now, enough talk, right? Enough talk. Let's take a look at this. I have made this, you know, the recording just for this purpose, right? Now, let's see how the music works out, right? Now remember the accented beat, right? And the rhyming. Now, let's hear this. Can you see my GarageBand on the screen right now?
Yes.
Okay. Let's. So this is the main melody, right? This is the main melody. This is just an excerpt of the song. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you how things work in Thai classical music, right? So we have Khong Bong Yai, the melody by Khong Bong Yai. Now, where does the strong beat? Where is the strong beat? So let's hear the ching with us, right? The ching, which I said regulates the tempo, right? So now it begins to make sense. Now listen for the the dampened beat of the ching. That's where strong beat is. So we see now, right? The strong beat is here, 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 and here, right? And the notes that's on the strong beat, there are two notes on the strong beat, right? Two pitch, actually. Now you see where the strong beat is, or strong beats are, okay? And the notes, the pitch that falls on the strong beat, right? So now I'm gonna add the rest of the rhythmic instruments, okay? I'm gonna let each come in one by one, okay? And now I'm gonna let the drums come in. See how drum and ching keeps in this drum and ching in this case regulate the tempo. Okay, I hope now that melody is kind of gives you an earworm already, right? Which is what I want. So keep that melody in mind, right? That accented beat. Bum bum ba-da-dum ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum ba-da-dum bum. Now, when we add instruments into this, right? That's when the magic happens, so to speak. Right? So now I'm gonna let this play again. Right, now keep in mind that strong beat, okay? Now I'm gonna let the Ranat Ek comes in and now try to identify where the rhymes happens. See the rhyming happens now? Did you notice the rhyming? Yes, there are some points where the rhyme does not really happen, but to the end of the the even strong beat, right? The rhyme comes back at the end, right? For example, at the end, it ends at that pitch. Every instrument has to end at that specific pitch, right? Now let's take another example. Let's look at Ranatum and Khong Bong Yai, right? So do you begin to see how things are aligned together? The rhymings of the instruments, right? Based on the Khong Bong Yai melody. The same is gonna go for, you know, the flute and the Khong Bong Lek right? The flute has a little bit more free-flowing melody, but it still rhymes. Rhyme. Now, let's put everything together. Let's put everything, okay? Now, here is what Thai music sounds like when everything comes together. Now, I want you to pay attention where the accented beat is, okay? And how each instrument aligns with one another, how it rhymes at specific places. Here we go. Begin to see how the quote-unquote chaos are controlled in a way, is structured. That is the structure of Thai classical music, right? The accented beat, the rhyme, right? The pitch that rhymes, and that's how each instrument, which, like, you know, they seems to play their own thing, but at the same time they are structured in a way, right? There is a sense of structure that governs the music, that controls the music from going real chaotic, right? As you can see. So it's not actually chaos, right? It is very much structured. Okay, so that's, you know, how the music works together. Now, in practical, right, in the real sense, it does not always follow this same melody, this short melody, right? It's very short and it's very easy to remember. But in the real, in the songs that we play, sometimes it's longer than that. Sometimes it has longer melody, right? So we have to remember that. And then we have also different layers of rhythm, right? Each rhythm has different layers. So this kind of thing, you know, different layering of music, we call it as a tau form, which is kind of equivalent to irama in Javanese, gamelan, right? But not exactly the same, okay? Very similar. So in tau form, what does that mean? It actually means an augmentation or diminution melodies of the length of the music, right? For example, if one rhythmic level has 4 beats, right? The shorter one has to be 1, 2, right? The longer one has to be 8. But it doesn't mean that, okay, there are 4 and then you take out 2, okay? Or there are 4 and then you add 4 more. So it does not work like that. So in 4, when you augment it, you stretch it out, right? You stretch it out like that. And then you add things in between, right? And make it more elaborated. And likewise, when you diminish it, you contracted it, right? So when you contract it, it loses some of the, you know, the main beat, and only two are discernible, so to speak, right? It will be clearer in the example that I'm going to show you. Okay, so in Tao form, we have at least 3 rhythmic levels. Okay, so in these 3 rhythmic levels, it's very straightforward, right? If you know Thai, right, so it goes by number, Sam Chan, right, which is level 3, which has the longest, I mean the stretchiest, right, stretchiest. And then we have Song Chan, the second level, okay, which is medium, okay, that is that in the between, intermediate. And then Chan Diao, not Ning Chan, Chan Diao, okay, which means level 1, that is the shortest, the most, you know, shrunken forms of music. So now let's look at this piece called Kek Boratet, okay, with the time that we have left, Kek Boratet. Okay, so this piece has 2 sections, right? The form of this section is simple, AB and CB, right? So that means the second half of the piece is the same. in both two sections. Okay, and then in actual performance, we have voice first, singer, followed by instruments. But in this example that I'm gonna show you, only has instruments, no voice. Okay, and then it follows the same kind of layers. Okay, we start with 3 ชั้น and then progress to 2 ชั้น and ชั้นเดียว. Okay, but this is not how the music is played in actual context. Okay, I'm just giving you the crude form, the raw form of the music, how the rhythmic is shrunken or is lengthened. Okay, all right. So not this, not yet. Let's go to GarageBand one more time. And then let's open this cat rotate. And okay. All right, let me share my screen again. Cat rotate right here. Now, do you see my GarageBand right now? Is it okay? Okay, now in Kak Boratet, right? Now, let's see here. In 3 ชั้น, right? Let's look at the form quickly through visual representation of the music here. So 3 ชั้น, right? Over here, this is the first sections, right? The first section. This is the second sections here. So you see the length of each section, right? The length of each section. And then now consider the second, the 2 ชั้น, the shorter version, right? How it is shrunken. They are shrunken half, right? So, sort of half as short. And now we move on to the ชั้นเดียว, right? It's even shorter here, right? You see how the rhythmic is lengthened, right? Or it's augmented or diminished. But if we progress in the linear direction here, so things are gonna be getting shorter and shorter, right, as the music progresses here. And now let's look at the rhythm itself, right? So you see, let's look at the qing here, right? So if you count the number of strokes that's happening on 3 ชั้น, right? So you see this many number of strikes that happens, right? The number of the strikes is gonna be the same throughout, right? Each layers. So you see what I mean by stretching and diminishing. It's not taking out some parts or adding some parts. It's about stretching and diminishing. The number of beats are there. It's just that, you know, it is, you know, like, think about, you know, you have an elastic band, right? You stretch it out and then you slowly leaving it to its original form. That's how it works, right? So with that said, okay, it's kind of hard to pinpoint how the music in eachชั้นrelate to one another. But again, what I would like to show you is for you to be able to discern the strong beat, okay, and how music actually rhymes. So let's take a listen to the music itself. This is the first section and the first section of the longest version, right? The 3 ชั้น. So that's the first section. Now let's move on to the second section. Sorry. Okay, now second section. section now. Okay, so now let's move to this the song chant section. Now note the ching rhythm right over here, the ching rhythm. Right, that's the first section. This is the second section. Okay, now the shortest one. Now you see how things are condensed even more. That's it. That's for this first section, as short as that. And now the second section. So that's how the Tao form works, okay? Did you notice how many strong beats are there in each section? Did any of you count the strong beats? Let me know in the chat box, how many strong beats could you count? Were you able to count the strong beats? Okay, I'm gonna play for your reference. I'm gonna play the second section again. Okay. Oh, okay, so we have an answer. Yeah, nice job. Wow, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
thank you.
And also answer. Okay, all right. That means you are keeping track of the beat. Very good, very good. Okay, or I don't know if you're looking at Ajahn Chamni while he's counting, but I hope you're keeping track of the music. Yeah. So yeah, that's how the music works in general. Okay, in Thai classical music. I don't know how many of you are in Thai music ensemble, but if you happen to be in the ensemble, or if now that you have listened to the music, right, you know how the music works together as a form. So next time, you know, when you play the music, when you are in the ensemble, or when you walk by, you know what's happening, you know what's going on, right? So it is in this structure that Thai classical musicians or Thai musicians like me, like Ajahn Chamni, learn the music, right? We learn the basic melody by Khong Wong Yai, right? And we don't learn it note by note, we learn it as a phrase, right? We learn as a phrase that, okay, we know that this phrase has this ending, this phrase has this pitch ending, right? And when we join this phrase together by memory, right? And then we begin to learn the variations of each instrument, okay? We begin to learn, and then we begin to conceptualize how each each variations, quote unquote, rhymes with one another. So that's how we conceptualize the music. And well, what makes Thai music, what makes a music great? That means how can you create a very elaborate variations, but at the same time comes back to rhyme in the music, right? Sometimes people create a very, very, you know, sophisticated variation in the sense that you can't trace it back to the main melody. It is that complex, but it still has that rhyming, right? Sometimes people prefer keeping it simple, you know, keeping it close to the basic melody. So that's how different people create that variations, but it is still following this same structure, that rhyming, you know, that rhyming. You're gonna find it everywhere in Thai classical music, that kind of rhyming. So that's how we think about, you know, when we listen to music. That's kind of a, you know, that rhyming is like a resolution in a sense, and then whatever path that each variations make is like a tension. Then, you know, it's, you're waiting for that, for it to resolve in the rhyming, in the accented beat, so to speak. Okay, so yeah, any questions on this so far? Yes, no, maybe so. Talk about this. Why is there not a Saduang? Okay, very good question, because this is a Pipat ensemble, right? But again, you know, this Pipat ensemble, it is a Pipat Mainom, another subtype, okay, which is supposed to have Sau. Okay, but I did not include Sau in this because there were no Sau when I was recording the music. Okay, so I made do with whatever I have in there. So Saduang, though, is supposed to be in I think in Krung Sai ensemble, right? It is in that instrument. So that's why it's in that. So before we close off, right? So we have, I'm just gonna talk a bit about Thai classical music in the US, right? It has a very long history in the US, the Thai classical music. So it was practiced in the academy, right? First of all, oh, my typo, well, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be University of California, Los Angeles, not Riverside. Okay, it's just my brain just went autopilot and typed my own institution. Okay, my bad. Sorry about that. So it is university is UCLA, right? That is the first, I think, the first academic institution that brought in Thai classical music and start teaching it in a, you know, academic setting. Thanks to David Martin. Okay, it was being there for, I think, a decade or so, and then it got stopped for like 40 years, and then, you know, right now it is being revived again thanks to you know, Ajahn Supina Adler, who is now director in that ensemble. And then we have Kent State University. Kent State University is arguably the longest running Thai classical music ensemble in the US right now. Okay, and then yes, we have Northern Illinois University right here at NIU, right? Thanks to Ajahn Chamni, who resumed teaching Thai classical music ensemble again. And then we also have, you know, other ensembles in university, but it's now no longer running. It's already discontinued. Like, you know, Southwestern University used to run there for like a decade or so. Now it's stopped. But right now there are 3 main institutions that run Thai classical music ensemble. So you all should be very proud, right? You are one of the 3 in the entire US. Right, but not only that, Thai classical music is also practiced in Thai American community, right? As I said, it is a national music, right? So it is one of the ways in which Thai Americans express their cultural identity, right? When living far away from home. We have lots of active, very active Thai classical communities in, Thai classical music ensembles in Thai American communities across the United States, right? Especially in the big cities like, you know, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Boston, Colorado, you know, all these, they have their own music ensemble. And these ensembles seems to be, are usually centered in Thai Buddhist temple, right? And then of course in Chicago, we have our own, you know, the Thai, what is it called? Thai Cultural Center of, this TCFAI, okay, Thai Culture and Fine Arts Institute of Illinois, yes, run by Ajahn Chamni as well, very active in its activity, very having been performing every day all year round and been doing this for so many years. We have also in Los Angeles, right, and all these people, these Thai Americans, they are pretty good at doing Thai music. Okay, they're quite. Sometimes I coming from Thailand myself, right, being trained, I'm sometimes surprised by the expertise that these people are displaying. And the picture here, the photos here, right, is one of the performance, the rehearsal actually by the cultural centers at Illinois, right? We were performing this at Madison, Wisconsin 3 years ago. Right, so you see some of the kids here, they're all he's Thai Americans, and there are some, you know, Thai music teachers here living in the US, right? They're all living as Thai Americans here. And then we have all these, you know, teachers from Thailand here, right? So then we see that, you know, combination of different groups of Thai people having different experience, right? Overseas, a transnational experience. So I think, yeah, if you're even more interested in the way Thai classical music plays out in Thai American communities, I have written an article about centering on Ajahn Chamni's musical community in Chicago, right? That article is coming out this summer in Asian music. So yeah, keep an eye on that. And if you're more interested, that I think that would be useful for you as, you know, as a gateway to understanding Thai classical music in United States. Well, Thai music ensemble starting at UC Riverside. Well, that is a very good statement. I would love it to happen someday. Yeah, right now with all the things that I have, so it's a little bit busy for me this quarter, right? So I would love to get it started someday. All right. So any questions? We have like 5 or 2 minutes actually. Maybe, yeah, we can get through some of the questions that you have.
Hi. I have a quick question.
Yes,
It's about the rhyming structure you were just sharing with us. So
okay.
how much is it the classical Thai music related to say Thai classical literature? Is there such a thing at all? Like, so is it originally to be used to accompany poetry reading or, you know, songs like that?
Okay, all right. So that's a very good question. Thank you for your question, Dr. Wang. I think Ajahn Chamni can also help me elaborate on this as well. I think, yeah, usually Thai classical music, right, in its secular use, it is first used to accompany poetry recitation, right? So we have that poetry recitation first and then accompanied by the music. But it is very recently that, you know, that Thai, that music, that the wording itself, the text itself is superimposed into the music that follows the structure of the music, you know, that follows the melody of the music. But yes, there is that relationship that, you know, that Thai classical music is used to accompany the poetry recitation. Yes, and I think, yeah, in a sense that rhyming in poetry, it's also carried over into music, which is the reason why we call the rhyming in the, you know, that the variations, the different variations, we call it as klon or a poem. Yeah. If that answers your question. I don't know if Ajahn Chamni has something to add.
Definitely, I agree with Ajahn Pap. The poem in Thailand is ending like the American poem, but depends on the structure and the type of the poem too. Mostly is the end accented as the compose and the composition of the Thai classical music as well. Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I know that we are out of time right now. I don't know, but we can maybe entertain a couple more questions from any of you. We have Nattap, right? Nattap is actually a rhythm played by the drums, so to speak, generally speaking, yeah. So maybe if you have any additional questions, feel free to let Ajahn Chamni know, and yeah, Ajahn Chamni might forward that to me. I will try my best to answer your questions. So then, for now, thank you so much for having me and for this, for giving me a chance to give my explanation on the workings, on the mechanism of Thai classical music. Thank you, Hamni, for having me. Thank you, Dr. Wang, and thank you, Dr. Deborah Wong, for joining.
Hello.
Thank you, Ajahn Pop.
Hello, Ajahn Chamni, Ajahn Jung.
All right, I would like to wrap it up. If Ajahn Pap can leave your email address to the chat also, so it's open up for the student can continue further any concern or any, okay, that nwisu001@ucr.edu. It's really privileged to have Dr. Wang, Dr. Wong, Deborah Wong with us today. Could you give any comment for the any learning situation? This is really a challenge to all of the teaching platform, and Ajahn Pap has nailed this one. Is magnificent. Nailed it out. I can't even do like the number or the whiteboard, and you use too many application, and I'm the host, and you share the screen is really run smoothly. So I'm so proud of the UCR student. And Dr. Wang, Dr. Deborah Wong, would you give the last word for us, please?
I really enjoyed being with all of you this morning. I mean, it's just so much fun to be with a group of people who are interested in Southeast Asian music and Thai music. And Ajahn Chamni, I have such admiration for everything you're doing at NIU and in Chicago. So thank you for your beautiful work. And I hope to see you again sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we supposed to meet each other in May 14, and everything at UCLA, and we plan, our ensemble plan to go there, and we work things out, and it's everyone need to be understand up to this point, and
exactly,
and we hope that we meet each other again for this magnificent collaboration project.
Yes, well said. All right.
All right, thank you guys for attending this really historical conference for the millennial. The COVID-19 make this happen to this network. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.